Welcome back, dear children. In the previous video clip, we had completed the first three factors that determine the individual demand. Now in this clip, we shall discuss three more factors that determine the same individual demand. Point number 4, price of related goods. Before we discuss how the price of related good determine the individual demand, it is important for us to understand what are the related goods. Related goods means the goods that can be taken together or the goods which can be substituted by another commodity performing the same function. So related goods, there are two types of related goods. The first one is the substitute good and the next one is the complementary good. Let us understand what are the substitute goods. Substitute goods are those which can be taken in place of a commodity. That means these are those products that can completely substitute one another. Like it will be easy for us to understand with the help of an example. Substitute product tea and coffee can be taken as a substitute product. Tea, coffee are substitute product. Instead of tea, you can take coffee. Like you can say, you can take the example of Coke, or you take the example of Coke or any cold drinks, Sprite or Maaza. Okay, so these are some of the examples. Now see what happens when the price of tea, when the price of tea increases, it has become expensive, so people will not buy tea. The people will stop consuming tea. And since the price of coffee has remained same, the people who had been consuming coffee will continue, and the people who had stopped consuming tea will start consuming coffee. Okay, so the demand for coffee will increase. Try to understand once again. When the price of tea increases, people will find it expensive, they will stop consuming it now. Whereas coffee, which is a substitute product, it's no change in its price. It has no change in its price. Hence, the people who have been consuming coffee will continue, and the people who had stopped consuming tea will start consuming coffee because they will find coffee to be cheaper in comparison to tea. Hence, the demand for coffee will rise like this. So, there is a direct relationship between the price of a substitute product. So, once again, please try to understand this. When the price of tea has increased, people will find it expensive, so they will stop consuming it. Whereas there is no change in the price of the coffee, so the people, those who were consuming coffee, will continue, and the people who have been consuming tea will find coffee cheaper than tea. Hence, they will also start consuming coffee. Hence, the total demand for coffee will rise. Okay, so this is how the price of this is how the individual demand also is affected by the related goods. These goods are related, so one commodity will affect another commodity. Now complementary are those products which are jointly demanded, which are taken together. Example will make it more clear. You can take the example of car and petrol. These are jointly demanded commodity. This one example I am giving you. There are several examples in our life, like shoes and socks is another example. Okay, tea and biscuit, another example. So many examples where we take jointly. Now what happens here? These are complementary products. When the price of car increases, what will happen to the demand of petrol? That means when the price of car is increasing, people are not buying car. Will they continue buying petrol? No, the demand for petrol will fall down. When the price of car increases, automatically the people will stop buying petrol, so the demand for petrol will fall. So you see, in complementary goods there is an inverse relationship, means opposite relationship between the price of one commodity and the demand of another product. Whereas in the substitute goods, we had a direct relationship between two substitute products. You can take the example of tea and coffee. there's a direct relationship. When the price has increased, the demand has also increased. When the price of one commodity, when the price of tea would fall, then the demand for coffee also would fall. Okay, and whereas here complementary opposite relationship, when the price of car has increased, the demand for petrol has decreased. Had it been the price of petrol decreasing, then there would have been an increase in the demand for petrol. Okay, so these are the price of related goods. Now consumer expectation. Consumer expectation, it will be very simple for you to understand if I say that if the consumer are expecting a fall in the price of the commodity in future, then presently they will not demand will be less. Why? People will wait. People will allow its price to fall in future, then they will buy. Say for an example, if the price of refrigerator is going to decrease by 2000 next month, then I will not create its demand now. I will wait for 1 month more or 2 months more, and then I will buy the refrigerator. If I waited for so many years, then 1 or 2 more months I can wait. Okay, so the demand will decrease. The individual demand will decrease. But if a consumer is expecting a rise in the price of refrigerator next month, then presently this month itself the consumer will create demand. Why? Because if he doesn't do that, then he will have to lose. So future expectation also plays a dominant role, or in fact a very important role in the individual demand. And the last one is the credit facility. Credit facility means if there is credit facility available. Credit facility means to defer payment, make the payment later. That's a credit facility. Whereas the consumer consumes the commodity or gets the commodity, but the payment he makes later. That's called credit facility. Now take this. Now listen to this. If the credit facility is available to the consumer, then he can demand more because he doesn't have to pay at all. He will make the payment later because credit facility is available. This is what normally we do. The whole month we consume from a particular shop, and at the end of the month or at the beginning of the following month, we go and make the payment. So how much are we buying? We don't bother about, because we don't have to make the payment. So instead of buying 5 kg of oil, we can buy one big jar of oil. Instead of buying 5 kg of rice, we can buy one bag of rice, because we don't have to make the payment. So what does it do is it increases the demand. Whereas if there is no credit facility available, then the demand will decrease, because everybody will not have enough money in their pocket. So whatever quantity the pocket allows you to do that, you will buy only that much of quantity. Hence the demand will fall. Hence, in simple words, if the credit facility is available, more will be the demand, because people can make the payment later. Any quantity they can demand now. And if the credit facility is not available, then that means you have to immediately make the payment. So in that case, you will buy less, you will buy as much as your pocket allows, your money allows you. So the demand will be less. Credit facility available, demand will be more, and if it is not available, demand will be less. So this was the last factor that determined the individual demand. Dear children, we have completed point number 1.3.1, that's the determinants of individual demand. And next topic we shall discuss only in the next week. So till then, take care, and all those questions which are at the end of the exercise in the short type and essay type, choose the questions, and whichever has been covered, those topics whichever has been covered or whichever has been explained to you, you may start doing it. So children, take care of yourself and start doing your work. Thank you.